Ready? Yep. All right, welcome to the organizational meeting of the Marlington Local School District Board of Education, Thursday, January 12th at 5 p.m. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reading of the mission statement, Mr. Josh Hagan.
In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Josh Hagan,
Here.
Karen Humphreys,
Here.
Kathy Krupko,
Here.
Mark Ryan,
Here.
Jonathan Swift.
Here.
Adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the following agenda for the January 12th meeting?
So moved. Second.
In discussion? Call the roll, please. Oh, I guess we don't have the roll with that. Should we have the roll there?
Yeah.
You need to call the roll.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion passes.
Okay, election of board president. Is there a nomination for the board president?
I nominate Karen Humphreys.
Second.
Oh, go ahead, Kathy.
Kathy, second. Okay. Are there any others? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Yes. Motion passes.
Okay, so it's the
You need to
Do
do
the
the
oath.
oath of office.
I will just.
Okay.
Yes, if you please stand.
Okay, election of board vice president. Is there a motion for vice president?
Jonathan Swift.
Second.
Any others? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Oh, now I got to
With Jonathan,
This is going to be hard.
you're welcome to sit through it.
He's not sitting.
He makes me laugh. Okay, the Board of Education meeting schedule. Is there a motion to establish the date, time, and place of the regular meetings of the Marlington Local Board of Education as the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. in the DLZ at Marlington High School? Said Board of Education may set an alternate date or other locations as determined by the board at the conclusion of the meetings.
We're going to remove electronic remote technology.
Yes, 3 words are going to be taken out of that, electronic remote technology, since we're not doing that.
I'll record it as such.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
So the removal of the electronic remote technology meeting,
That
is that,
that was from COVID. It shouldn't have been in there.
okay, but
We're still
Still gonna live stream?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, no, that's just that. Originally, those were in there because we were doing that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes,
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. I'm going to recommend the motion to appoint Kathy as a delegate to the Ohio School Boards Association annual conference again, if she'll accept that.
Very well.
Okay, is
I'll second.
there any discussion? Excuse me. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the liaison alternate. Josh, are you currently this?
Correct.
Would you like to again?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll nominate Josh.
Okay.
What's that?
I'll
Okay.
nominate Josh Hagan.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Student Achievement Liaison. Does anyone want to volunteer for this? I think who is currently? I was
Thought Jonathan
before.
was last year.
Who? Jonathan, were you? Or was Josh? The student liaison, do you remember? Does anyone want to?
What does the student liaison do? I don't
Basically, you
remember.
go to that part, you know, of the conference if you want to watch. I mean, they have students come and present. They just give you the updates on what is happening in other districts with the different achievement things.
Is
that
it
they-
just at Capitol Conference?
That's the biggest role. Yes. I can do it if no one wants to. Okay, so
Do it again?
I'll do it again.
I nominate Karen, sorry.
I'll second that. Before my name gets thrown out again.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to start saying Kathy for everything.
Call the roll, please.
Spell it right.
Okay. Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes,
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. Okay, committee members. I like how the committees ran this last year. I think we did great, and everyone was in the right position, so I'm going to just continue that on. So for Policy Committee, that's Mr. Swift as the chairperson and Mark Ryan as the other member. For Curriculum, that's myself as the chairperson and Josh Hagan as the other member. For Finance, that's Mark Ryan as the chairperson and Kathy Krupko as the other member.
Okay.
Building and Grounds, Kathy Krupko as the chairperson, Jonathan as the other member. And Extracurricular, Josh Hagan as the chairperson and Mark Ryan as the other member.
Before we vote, I'd just like to request possibility of, if someone would be willing to switch spots with me on one of the committees for a spot on the Building and Grounds Committee.
I like where I am.
Wasn't there another committee we established? Was there a communications
We-
committee?
We had a
Ad hoc.
community relations committee that we had established,
Yeah.
but, that was just, there wasn't a lot of communication going on with the community at the time, but Dan's really filling that role,
So we
so, no,
yeah,
we don't need that. Yeah, I think things are good where they're at, as,
What's your reason for wanting to be on it?
Building and Grounds,
Yeah.
expertise in building and grounds,
Mhm.
background.
well, I think you have the access still, and you go to meetings and you talk to vendors, and I don't know what being on the committee adds to the capacity you already have. So I think we'll leave them as they are.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Do we need a motion for that?
I thought it was just your appointments.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to.
Appointed.
Yeah. Okay. Bylaws and policies. Do we have a motion for the annual resolutions for consideration as listed there? They are the same as have been standard, correct? Has anything changed, Dan?
No. So obviously, if you just read through that, the Alliance Review is still considered the official newspaper of Marlington Local School District at this time, even though we do recognize multiple others, including the Hartville News, including the Canton Repository. I think they just named one. Obviously, we do, at this point in time, there's certain things that we needed to give permissions for, which is, obviously to participate in the cooperative programs, the preschool, the special education grants, all through the Stark County ESC, which does not change. And also, we always authorize the district to be part of the cooperative purchasing through the Stark County Educational Service Center for food services, business operations, bus and / transportation. Authorized, participate in the Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program on top of that, and basically for the same thing. We have to, every year, we have to make sure we authorize to be part of the OHSAA and OSBA Legal Assistance Fund, so both those are in there. And then obviously the Board of the Service Fund for the board, and that pretty much covers, there's nothing that's changed with that. It's been in there I went back 6 or 7 years on this, and I didn't find anything different.
Okay, is there a motion to adopt the bylaws and policies?
So moved.
Second. I got a question on the $20,000 for the general service fund. I know years ago it was a lot less than that. And explain to me what we're using that fund for. That's
We don't ever
board-
use, we don't ever.
board's discretion?
That's the board's discretion. It's never really used, so capital conference would be one.
Okay.
If something would come up where the board felt that they needed to do something for staff, or it could be something related outside of the community, there's certain guidelines inside the service fund that you can or can't do, and then we let you know there. That gives you the flexibility that we don't have to come to a board meeting and have to do a purchase order or something. You at least have,
Okay.
you have a blanketed amount to be able to use for.
Didn't we used to use it for if a immediate family member died, you would do
could.
flowers
You could,
or
out of
lunches
that.
for the staff on
You-
staff appreciation days?
You could do something like that if you wanted. So it really varies on.
Is there
you
any
know, the
money
board
in that
discretion.
account?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Now, is that require a vote by the board on the decisions to be made with that money, or how is that decided?
I can't think of any time that outside of the capital conference, this year, that we've used the board service fund for anything like that. So,
I know in the past, the board president would say, hey, let's send flowers to this family or that, and just do it.
And then notify us afterwards.
so
Yeah.
Oh, and that would come from
there's
recommendation of
nothing.
him, too.
All I know is the board service fund cannot be used without permission from at least the board president or the
Right.
board itself. So,
Okay. Call the roll, please.
Is the facility fee,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, is the facility fee going to be included in this vote then? For the facility fee and cell phone reimbursement?
That's the same thing. It's always in there, yeah. It's
Okay.
attached in your thing. Yep. That's not changed.
So, all right, I'm sorry, going back to that 20,000, do we have a carryover?
No.
Or is it just start at zero every year?
It starts at back at 20,000 every
Okay,
year.
so
it just
it's-
goes back
it just
to the
skips
general
zero,
fund.
okay.
Correct. There's no carryover.
Got it.
As far as district facility fees, do we have any, were there any changes made this year?
No.
Okay.
Okay, is that it? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Okay. Treasurer's authorities. So this is not so long, I'll read it. The treasurer is authorized to pay bills within the limits of appropriations when merchandise has been received in good condition or when contractual obligations become due. The treasurer is authorized to secure advance of tax monies. The treasurer is authorized to temporarily invest interim deposits as allowed by law. The president and treasurer are authorized to borrow money if needed. The treasurer is authorized to use facsimile signature on warrant and payroll checks. The treasurer is authorized to transfer amounts equivalent to interest earned by applicable funds. The treasurer, as district public records officer, is authorized to attend public records training on behalf of the Board of Education members. The treasurer's bond shall be set at $100,000. The treasurer of the Marlington Local Board of Education does hereby certify that the number of pupils enrolled in the public schools of Marlington Local School District shall be the number determined by the final year-end report. And that's as it has been also, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So move.
Second?
So I have a question, and I'm sure this was in here last year, but the president and treasurer are authorized to borrow money if needed. What exactly authority does that mean? I mean, that's an awful lot of, does that mean Bob and Karen can go down to Payday Loan and take out $1,000 cash together? Or are we talking go to Bank One or it's not even Bank One anymore, what is it, it's Chase?
Chase, oh my.
Go to Chase and take out a loan to build a new school? I mean, what's the limit on that?
Well, the types, I don't know the limit, to be honest with you, but the, the types of borrowings you might have are, you could have tax anticipation notes, for example, that I'd be authorized to sign off on to, borrow against future proceeds from levies, for example. That would be a common way to do it. But I'm trying to think of any other type of debt that we would have, per se. Offhand, the tax anticipation notes, the only thing I can think of that would be likely to occur.
Okay.
I would say 99% of the time you would hold an emergency meeting for anything like that.
Yeah, I'm like,
but
doesn't it require a
I
vote
would,
to borrow
but
money?
I would say at the same time, if we cannot hold an emergency meeting, or you do have a quorum not in town, this would give the treasurer or the board president the opportunity to okay him to borrow money if needed.
Let's try not to put us in that situation, guys.
I don't think that's ever, I can't think of a time that's happened.
Definitely not the plan.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
sometimes that's important to do, just if your cash runs low. So like mid-spring is sometimes the time where district's cash will run low. Even if your fund balance is okay, you're waiting for collections from real estate and so on, your cash could get low and you may have to borrow funds to temporarily keep liquid that way.
Does anybody know if we had to do that in the past?
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't remember any.
Our fund balance is good enough right now. I don't expect that
That we
need.
would have to. Okay.
But I haven't done the detailed cash projections yet with the forecast to make sure that's the case, but I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go spending it all.
Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes,
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Motion passes.
thank you. The superintendent's authority, this is normal also, right, as has been? Nothing
Correct.
changed?
Nothing's changed.
Okay, is there anything there that anyone wants to ask about?
You need a motion first.
Oh, yes,
Before you have to-
motion, sorry. Is there?
So moved.
Kathy? Okay,
Second.
okay. Any discussion?
So a lot of this stuff would be approved by the board after the fact anyway.
After the fact.
So you would go ahead and do it in anticipation the board's gonna pass this stuff, so.
It's the normal, like the first one, if, like between now and our next board meeting in February 16th, if somebody applied for a cafeteria monitor job or whatever, I would have a right to go ahead and employ them, and then we'd still bring it to the board as
Right.
normal. That's what that, basically, the gist of that is. Obviously, the rest is, obviously the travel employees and school business and professional meetings, the typical, the legal counsel and/or if anything would come up. Obviously, authorized employee non-licensed or non-certified in supplemental positions. Just appoint personnel. Declare value of used books and materials, and enter any agreements for student teachers or local universities.
Under the section here where it allows the, authorizes superintendent to employ legal counsel and initiate legal action, I'm assuming all those in any case would be brought to the board's
Always,
attention as well.
yeah. So that'd be something as simple as our typical, our ESC board counsel may not be able to give me an answer for, let's say, well, we'll use the example for the roof or the construction. We'll use a different one, so I'll have to reach out and talk to, say, I use Brick or Ecker, so I called Casey Reith and said, hey, I need you to, draw up the paperwork I need for that, so I have that right to do that. If there's a special education one, then Mr. Evidence would come to me and say, hey, we need to get a legal opinion on this. If, say, board counsel could not answer that question, then I would have a right to go ahead and reach out to somebody that would be maybe more specialized in that to get a quick answer. But either way, yes, they're still brought back to you guys. Always.
Okay. Anything more? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko.
Yes.
Thank you.
Meeting is
We'll be back at 6.
It's like just
It's ready.
two masses.
Really?
Good evening. Welcome to the Marlington Local School District Board of Education regular meeting of Thursday, January 12th, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation, Jacob Mariner.
Let us pray. Thank you, God, for bringing us all together tonight safely. Please watch over all our students, staff, and board members. Please guide us in everything we do according to your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Josh Hagan,
Here?
Karen Humphreys,
Here.
Kathy Krupko,
Here?
Mark Ryan,
Here.
Jonathan Swift,
Here.
and Nash Minor.
Here.
New student representative. Reading of the mission statement.
Does not vote. Oh, roll call. He only does roll call, right?
In collaboration with staff, community, parents, and students, the Marlington Local School District will develop lifelong learners who understand and apply knowledge and demonstrate excellence in pursuing the highest standards with effective intervention to challenge every student. Additions or corrections? Are there any additions or corrections to this meeting agenda? Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to adopt the meeting agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphreys,
Yes.
Mr. Swift.
Yes.
Agenda is approved.
Thank you. Public participation. Has anyone signed up to speak publicly?
Yes, at this time, Mary Sherman would like to address the board regarding grade leveling. Mary, come on up, please.
And the time frame is 3 minutes?
Yep, 3 minutes.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mary Sherman. After the November 21st school board election, many in the community were holding their breath. We wondered how long it would be before the new school board attempted to close or drastically alter our elementary schools again. We wanted to believe the new school board would put peace before politics and work to rebuild trust with the community, but sadly, our fears were confirmed. By June, the board was discussing grade leveling our elementary schools, and parents were whispering, "Here we go again." At the November meeting, we were told the conversation on grade leveling would begin soon. I'd like to start that conversation by reminding the board that after closing Marlboro in 2019, the remaining schools were not grade leveled because parents expressed it created too many problems for them in a district of 91 square miles. You remember those problems, don't you? Long bus rides up to an hour each way for our youngest students, children far from home in emergencies, parents picking up children at multiple schools or waiting for different bus schedules in the morning, students separated from friends and the support of older siblings, the end of parent choice, and elementary school open enrollment across the townships and more. The list is a long one. Why is the board entertaining an idea it already knows is unpopular and will only create more upset in the community? Is that what you want? We've been assured the board isn't going to close an elementary school, but grade leveling creates the same consequences of closure because hundreds of students would no longer be able to attend their township school simply because of the grade they're in, and so it would effectively be closed for them. Grade leveling also seems to be a preliminary step back toward consolidation, because with entire grades already consolidated into single buildings, the argument for a consolidated elementary school becomes easier. Is that what this is about? It can't be better academic performance because that doesn't hold true when we look at Stark County schools. 3 of the districts whose students scored much higher than Marlington on state tests do not grade level their elementary schools. And most of the districts where students didn't perform as well as Marlington either grade level or consolidate their elementary schools. This information is from the Ohio Department of Education Ohio School Report Card and Performance Index that was released last September. Since closing Marlboro in 2019, the board knows our elementary schools are a flashpoint in this district. Promoting unnecessary grade leveling is irresponsible, especially if we want to heal the wounds of the past. With 66% of voters rejecting a new levy last year, does the board think its odds will be better if they force grade leveling through?
Mary, you're at 3 minutes, so
If
just
that
please try to wrap
happens,
up when you can.
I can assure you I won't be voting for any levy. I'd like to see the board focus on balancing the budget instead. Thank you.
Thank you. Special presentations, Mr. Swisher.
Okay, so here we are. We're going to start with our Students of the Month. So please welcome everybody to the new year, 2023. So we're going to go ahead and have our Students of the Month come on up. We'll start at the high school with Mr. Farrell.
Good evening. I'm Mike Farrell, principal at Marlington High School. I have the privilege of introducing 2 Elks Teens of the Month for the high school here this evening. When I call your name, if you'd come forward and please stand here while I get to brag about you a little bit, that'd be great, and we'll get a picture. First up is Elizabeth Mason. Elizabeth is the daughter of Scott and Cheryl Mason. She is a 4-year letter winner and captain on the varsity tennis, basketball, and track teams. She's also a 4-year member of the marching band, where she's been the percussion section leader for 2 years. Elizabeth is vice president of the class of 2023, treasurer of the Rotary Interact Club, vice president of National Honor Society, a peer tutor, member of Spanish Club, and Spanish National Honor Society. Elizabeth is an active member of Middle Sandy Evangelical Presbyterian Church. Following graduation, Elizabeth plans to continue her academic and athletic careers in college. Her teachers say that she is highly organized and always has her assignments done completely, neatly, and on time. She is enthusiastic about learning new material and is engaged in the lesson every day. Elizabeth is extremely gifted in mathematics and in her athletics. She is a young lady with integrity and takes pride in being a Duke. She is an exceptional role model for her peers and is admired not only by other students, but by the staff here at Marlington High School. She has a warm personality and puts a smile on the face of everyone she comes into contact with throughout the day. Elizabeth, it's my pleasure to recognize you as an Elk Teen of the Month. Congratulations. Our other Teen of the Month at the high school is Jake Mariner. Jake is the son of Brett and Elizabeth Mariner. He is a member of the varsity football team, where he earned the Howard Struble Hart Award. Jake is a member of St. Paul's Lutheran Church, volunteers with the Marlington Little Dukes, and is also a reading intervention buddy for first grade students. In his free time, Jake enjoys running and was the youngest finisher in the 2022 Hall of Fame full marathon. He is currently training for a 50-mile ultra marathon this June, correct? Following graduation, Jake plans to attend Kent State University to study marketing and entrepreneurship. Jake's teachers say it is an absolute pleasure and joy to have him in class. He's an extremely conscientious, hard-working student who always strives to do his best. Even if a class is challenging for him, he works hard and is willing to put forth any amount of effort that is necessary to do well. Jake has a pleasant personality and is fun to be around. He's always polite, courteous, and respectful. He is a young man of integrity, and the pillars of character are evident in his life. He sets an example for others through his actions and attitudes, and is the type of student who makes Marlington proud. He's very deserving of this recognition. Jake, my pleasure to recognize you as an Elk Teen of the Month. Congratulations. Next up for our Students of the Month, Middle School Principal, Mr. Rizzoletti.
The first student the middle school would like to recognize is Michael Linehan. Mikey is the son of Kathleen Welday. His teachers have this to say about him. Mikey displays his character through his caring and respectful demeanor. He works well with others and puts a smile on their faces. It's always great to watch Mikey with his fellow classmates. You can count on him to work hard and hold others around him accountable. He's always willing to give a helping hand to anyone in need. One of Mikey's greatest attributes is he does all these things without expecting praise in return. He's the true definition of character, and we're grateful to have him in class. Mikey's always ready to be a leader with his peers here at Marlington. He often takes the initiative to help others when they may not understand a concept, and he does a fantastic job at patiently explaining things to his peers. He always has kind words to say about others and can bring a smile to anyone's face. We're very proud of Mikey Linehan. Next, the middle school would like to recognize Allison Bailey. Allison is the daughter of Melinda and Jared Bailey. Her teachers have this to say about her. Allison is an outstanding student. She has a strong sense of responsibility and strives hard to do her best. She's polite, cheerful, and always comes to class with a positive attitude. Allison's a hard worker that always has a smile on her face, and she is constantly improving. We're so lucky to have Allison with us at MMS. Overall, she is a great student with a bright future ahead of her. Allison Bailey. Next up is Lexington Elementary and Mrs. Weber.
Good evening. My name is Ashley Weber, and I'm the principal at Lexington Elementary. I have the honor of introducing Mr. Sterling Bauer, 5th grade Kiwanis Student of the Month. Mrs. Kellums and Mrs. Porter selected Sterling for the following reasons. Sterling is always eager to learn and has excellent participation in class. He is very responsible and consistently puts forth his best effort. Sterling loves to challenge others, especially on IXL, and he wants to be number 1 on our IXL leaderboard. Sterling always has a positive attitude towards school. He always gives 110% in academics and helping his friends succeed too. Way to go, Sterling. Keep up the great work. We are proud of you. Oh. Just a little bit more. So, Sterling's favorite subject in school is art. One thing that he'd like to tell us about his family is that he has one cat and he lives with his mom, dad, and sister, and they love to hike as a family. Places he'd like to go in the future, oh, you got a lot here. He'd like to go to Hawaii and California, Texas, Mexico, and New York. A world traveler, well, locally. Tell us one more thing about yourself. And what Sterling had to say was, I play soccer in my free time. I also love to read and play with Legos. And he plays the trumpet in the 5th grade Lexington band. Mr. Sterling Bauer. I almost forgot. Next up, Mrs. Mort, Marlboro Elementary.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce Marlboro Elementary's January Kiwanis Student of the Month, Allison Troyer. A little bit about Allison from her teachers. Allison was chosen because she is a dedicated student who is very conscientious about her academics. She shows great detail in her work and is consistently meeting high expectations in all of her academics. She also shows how important her friends and classmates are to her every day. Allison is a wonderful Duke Pride ambassador for our younger students by modeling our behavior expectations throughout her school day. She leads by example. Well done, Allison. We're very proud of you. Keep working hard. Some more about Allison. Allison also enjoys playing sports. She plays soccer, softball, volleyball, and gymnastics. In soccer, she loves the challenge of running and scoring. In softball, she plays pitcher, catcher, and shortstop. In volleyball, the most exciting part of the game is diving to dig the ball. Allison also enjoys swimming and practicing her flips off the diving board. Allison's gymnastic talents are amazing. She can do a front handspring, a back handspring, and a gymnastic chest stand where she puts her legs over her head. And we had talked about possibly doing that today for all of you, but she's going to save it for the future, so stay tuned. So very cool, Allison. Great job, kiddo. Some more special things about Allison and her family. Allison lives with mom and dad, Danielle and Joe. They enjoy swimming, going places to eat, church activities, and enjoying time with other families. Allison also enjoys spending time with Grandma, who has a special place in her heart. Allison's pets include 4 cats, 1 dog, 2 fish, and 2 hermit crabs. Allison's future plans are to be a veterinarian and work in an animal shelter because she really enjoys caring for animals. And one day she would like to own a chinchilla. In the future, Allison would like to visit Alaska and possibly spend the night in an igloo. In Allison's free time, she enjoys spending time with her animals, practicing gymnastics, art activities, and spending time with her friends doing their nails. Lastly, she would like to learn more about art and take art classes this summer. Congratulations, Allison Troyer, Marlboro's Kiwanis Student of the Month for January. Next up, Mr. Spondil for Washington Elementary.
I do.
That was not me sucking up. That was their board appreciation gifts. Just a little late to the party today, so thank you. Okay. I am happy to announce the Washington Kiwanis Student of the Month, Harrison Schold.
Ready?
Before I start, I want to let everybody know that for 7 years I've been reading Student of the Month bios, and this is the most unique bio I've ever read. I'm pretty excited for you to hear it. Harry was selected as a Kiwanis Student of the Month because of his creativity, his work ethic, and his dedication to learning and exploring new things. Harry is an incredibly kind young man and thinks of others and does not hesitate to help and encourage other students in our classroom. He adds joy to our classroom and is always willing to share the fun and unique things he is learning. Teachers were asked to say some positive things about Harry and some unique things that they noticed. His teacher said, "If you need a skilled lock picker, look no further than Harrison Schold. Harry spent the summer of 2022 learning how to pick locks. This is only one of his unique skill sets as he seeks to learn and explore many different things, like his love for origami. On a normal day, you can find Harry coming to class with his briefcase full of perfectly organized emergency supplies because backpacks are just not going to do it for Harry. He also quickly produces tissue roses with a few quick twists, as mentioned with his love for origami. You will find him completing his work to the best of his ability and asking challenging questions to deepen his own understanding of a concept. He is an incredible young man and without question a Duke definitely worth following." In class, Harry's favorite subject is math. We asked him what he liked to do for fun, and he loves to play golf and loves spending time with his dog, Callaway. After school, Harry would like to be an orthodontist. And then we asked Harry about hobbies he had or anything special he wanted to share with everybody, and he said he'd like to add tape to his 8-pound tape ball. Congratulations, Harry. Great job.
Okay, at this time, before we get into the heart of the meeting, this will be a chance for any of the students of the month and their families, if they wish to stay for the heart of the meeting, they can. If they wish to leave, you have that opportunity now to go.
Nice.
Thanks for being my dad's boss.
Jeez. My,
Great.
I had no idea. That bag. No, hers.
Karen's is from his side.
I love it. That's hilarious. Yeah. Not it. No. Oh my goodness.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the OSBA presentation, and I think our continued rep would be Kathy.
Yep.
Okay.
They've done some legislative work recently, clarified some issues with the Open Meeting Act, reminded us to do our organizational meeting, and we're ahead of the game. That's done. There's been a study done that shows that Ohio's Head Start programs are underfunded and underutilized. I'm going to be doing a little more research into that. And they have changed the definition of students with disability to go from age 3 through 9 instead of 3 through 6, and have announced that kids who are 6 and attending preschool can continue to attend preschool. And that's probably the big news from Ohio. Great.
Okay. Any questions for Mrs. Krupko? Okay, so this is going to be a new addition. We talked about this a little bit, and I'm going to talk about in my report how this came about, but I'm going to turn it over here to our newly appointed board student representative, Nash Miner, and let him introduce himself, if anything he'd like to add.
Well, first I'd like to thank the board for this opportunity. This is really cool that our district offers this opportunity for senior students. Just to give a little bit of background about myself, I'm a senior here at Marlington High School. I've gone here for just about all my years of schooling, and I love it. I am in a group called the Youth Leadership Academy, which meets with all people from class of 2023 around the county that go to every school. And when they ask me about Marlington, I always say I would never want to go anywhere else. This is where I always would like to be, and I'm so grateful that I've been here for all these years. Just a little bit of background about me. I am a cross-country runner and track runner. I'm involved in a good amount of extracurriculars, try to take some leadership roles that make a difference in our school. And after graduation, I will attend Johns Hopkins University studying cellular and molecular biology and hopes to be a orthopedic physician one day. I really saw this as a great opportunity to just really understand the board and be the student body's voice. So thank you again to the board.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nash.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, curriculum committee report. Josh Hagan and Karen Humphreys.
Want to share something?
Did you guys review any committee curriculum?
We did. This
Yeah,
this
just
was
the-
not
just the program of studies.
program of studies. It was no additions to the program at all. It was basically just kind of cleanup of a lot of different things. Added the physical education waiver that is in place now. If you do two sports, I think it is, you can have a physical education waiver. Put that language in, place things in different locations in
More appropriate.
more
Yeah, the
appropriate places for placement.
Do they still get the credit, or is it just a waiver for having to take that credit? Because before it was like you had to have a half a credit of physical education. Do they get the credit?
That is a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that is a good question. And then just some course descriptions were changed to more accurately describe what they are really covering in the course. So it was kind of academic, no pun intended, as to the changes. Nothing new added, nothing taken away.
And we fixed a typo.
Right, typos.
Way to go.
There you go.
Okay. Next up will be our curriculum director, Ms. Renee Cayley, for the curriculum update.
Okay, today we're going to talk about two different things. First of all, Happy New Year, our first board meeting in the new year. So we're going to talk a little bit about Ohio's K-3 dyslexia training that all of our K-1 teachers are participating in currently, as well as something I'm super excited about, our K-12 guaranteed student experience. It's something that we just actually had a meeting yesterday about. To start off with, many of you may have heard about the Ohio's dyslexia law that was passed. Two of those things that we are focusing on currently are the structured literacy certification process. So every single district in the state of Ohio has to establish a structured literacy certification process for their teachers. And in kindergarten through grade 3, this year it is focusing on primarily K and 1. So by August of next school year, all of our kindergarten and first grade teachers, along with the intervention specialists that support those grade levels, have to have this literacy certification. In addition, these teachers have to complete professional development training that's aligned with what's called the Dyslexia Guidebook. And in here, there are evidence-based strategies and instruction that we are participating in to train ourselves for being able to identify the characteristics of dyslexia and understanding the pedagogy that goes along with that. I will tell you that it has been very time-intensive. You know, my elementary principals, our instructional coach, and myself, we are utilizing ODE's modules. They have modules that comprise of 18 hours of coursework. The elementary principals, myself and Mrs. Gray, the instructional coach, have worked collaboratively to create activities and meaningful experiences for our teachers to take part in while we're going through those trainings, instead of just sitting and watching those modules. We wanted to, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right and make sure that it's meaningful. So like I had indicated a few moments ago, by the beginning of this next school year, all of our kindergarten and first grade teachers must be trained, and they will be. By the beginning of the following school year, our second and third grade teachers need to be trained, and that's including our third grade math teachers. So the state's perspective is that at any time a third grade teacher could potentially become an ELA teacher, and so they want everyone to have those background that background knowledge and that training. And then at the beginning of the 25-26 school year, our 4th through 12th grade intervention specialists only will be trained. So, and that will be a different training than what we are currently offering for our K1 and then our 2-3 teachers next year. So, you know, a kudos to our elementary principals and our instructional coach for taking, you know, it's hard to take time away from the buildings to plan these, but also kudos to our teachers who are being gracious enough to participate in this. It's not always the most, I'll be honest, it's not always the most exciting topic. Some of it's very dry because it's a lot of research based and talking about, I get excited when we're talking about the brain and how neuro pathways and things, but it's a lot. It's a lot on top of a school day too. So a huge thank you to all those that are participating in it. Any questions about that? It'll also, in the future, I'll start, when we make some, district decisions, I will fill everybody in on what those are as well, as far as what we're choosing as our dyslexia screener and so on and so forth. We have not made those decisions as of yet. The next thing I just wanted to focus on briefly was something called our K-12 Guaranteed Experiences. We met yesterday as an administrative team, but also with our school counselors, and we have a couple of college and career counselors that are working with our teachers and our administrators this year. And one of the things that I really wanted, Mr. Swisher and I had gone to a seminar, and we heard Akron Public Schools speak about some of the things that they're doing with academies and whatnot at the high school and career pathways and college pathways. And one of the things that resonated with me was that they have a guaranteed experience for every kid K through 12. And I said, how wonderful would that be if we were able to replicate that and make that our own here at Marlington, where every single child who attends Marlington has a guaranteed experience from kindergarten through 12th grade. So so to give you an example, we might say all of our kindergarten students are going to get to go to an apple farm. Maybe all of our first grade students are going to get to go to a play at a theater, and all of our second grade students are participating in the safety around water at the YMCA. And so really trying to make a very inclusive environment where our kids are getting exposed to a variety of different experiences that they may not be getting exposed to outside of the school. The little underpinning of that is that we really wanted to start focusing on college and career readiness, even at the elementary and at those very, primary levels, getting kids exposed and experiencing different things that maybe they never even knew existed, and to spark that curiosity for them, to know that, hey, we're gonna bring in the Star Lab and we're gonna look at planets and we're gonna look at the stars and talk about what is it to be a meteorologist, or an astronaut, and start talking about those types of things. We talked how it's going to be very important to highlight the resources and programs specific to Marlington, those things that we already have here that maybe a lot of our students don't even know until they get to the high school. So how awesome would that be if, our elementary and our middle school students were familiar with our programs at the high school and the opportunities that we have here on campus. We also want to expand on current opportunities that we are already utilizing within the K-12 spectrum, and then also looking at how can we build community partnerships to enhance these different experiences. Our goal is to have a basic framework of this in place for next school year, knowing that it'll just grow and expand as we start to put more time and effort into it, and making these experiences more intentional for our kids. Any questions about that? Something exciting. We're on the cusp of it. We're doing a lot of great things, but we're going to try to do even more things and be intentional about it. So. And it lines up directly with what Ohio's doing with the career and college readiness pathways, and giving those students exposure.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much.
Can I just say thank you for providing us every month with information about educationally what's going on with our kids, because that's the most important reason we're here. And you're getting a lot of information, and you're doing a lot of wonderful things to make their experiences better. And I appreciate knowing about those firsthand.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yep, we have a great team, and everyone working together is, it's a beautiful thing when that happens. So thank you. Thanks.
Okay, good evening and Happy New Year. This is part of the meeting where I'm Dan Swisher, I'm the superintendent of Marlington Local Schools. I'm going to give my brief January report. We've had meetings a week earlier than normal, which so we didn't have a lot of time between December, Christmas break, and now we're here. So Happy New Year. I'm going to stick with what I've done for the last 6 months, which we're going to talk about reasons to celebrate. I'm going to talk a little bit about some projects that were completed over break. And then the now, kind of some things that will be moving forward in the upcoming meetings and discussions from there. Some district highlights or reasons to celebrate this month. So we're going to talk a little bit about Marlington's middle school's Power of the Pen contest at Mount Union. We're going to talk a little bit here. I was explaining why Nash is sitting in the seat, how this came about. All right, and then obviously it is Board of Education Appreciation Month. So we do want to honor our board. So we're talking about Marlington Middle School's Power of the Pen. Here's a picture of them here. So the Power of Pen, our Marlington Middle School Power of the Pen had members that competed against approximately 160 other middle schoolers from 16 districts at the University of Mount Union on January 6th. All right, they were given prompts, and they were given 3 different prompts, and they had 40-minute rounds. Okay. Students don't know the prompts until they show up to the Power of the Pen competition. All right, so we had obviously our middle schoolers there participating. Basically, it's like a creative outlet for our kids. It helps improve their writing skills, build friendships, builds confidence. On February 25th at Lake Elementary will be the next round, and the top 50% of our kids, the kids from this tournament go. Now, obviously, those results have not been released currently at this time. So, but our Power of the Pen kids did a really nice job, and we really appreciate that, but they had a good time. All right, next topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit was how we have Nash Miner here. Nash got a chance to introduce himself as our Marlington Local School Board of Education student representative. All right, this came about from 2 different board members actually brought this up. Mrs. Krupko brought it up when I came on board at the beginning of the my tenure here as a superintendent, and then Mr. Ryan also brought it up coming back from the OSBA conference. So, how this came about was we basically put together I would say like a board objective, a student objective, duties, and then a selection process, and I gave that over to Mr. Farrell. Mr. Farrell then put that out there to all the high school. My hope was to have a representative, a male and a female representative. Nash is our current male representative right now. We currently do not have a female representative. From a board objective standpoint, this was to create a learning situation for students, introduce them to real-life experience, function, and responsibilities on serving as a board of education, be exposed to a wide range of experiences while learning how a board works through problem solving and the decision-making process. Additionally, the opportunities include the importance of citizenship and becoming involved in their community, all of which fits what Nash wants to do. The student objectives. Here is the student body, represents the student body and the citizens of the school district. Inputs encouraged, contact with board members and superintendents. The student obviously will not cast votes or be involved in any exec session. Duties, the students will attend all the board meetings through January through May, with a few exceptions if something would come up. He'll obviously have a copy of the agenda. He'll be able to voice any opinions in that. So this wasn't just as simple as Nash walking in and saying, Mr. Farrell, I volunteer to be the student. All right, the selection process. He had to complete the application. He had to have recommendations. He had to answer 3 essay questions.
he had to, so those essay questions were, what do you expect to learn from your experience as a student representative on the Marlington Board of Education? Explain what qualities and abilities you exhibit to be considered for this position, and describe one issue you'd like to address during your service. Then obviously he had an interview with Mr. Farrell and other members from the high school. So, you did have to put in some time and thought before you just come up and just said, hey, raise my hand and I'd like to be sitting there where he is. So we really appreciate that Nash took time, put together that. So we look forward to his first presentation next month in February. I will make sure to get his name up there ready to go. And we'll go from there. So we do welcome you aboard, Nash.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any questions for Nash?
Oh, we will, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll start.
Yeah, I do. You said part of the interview process was goals that or something he would like to see happen on the board. So what was it?
So one of the biggest things that I've noticed is I think that Marlington offers a ton of really amazing opportunities to the students. But unfortunately, with my senior year, I've had to go off campus for a good majority of my classes. And I know that there are going to be a lot of go-getters coming up through the years. I know way more are coming from the grades below me, and that would be one big goal, is so they could spend their senior year at Marlington and wouldn't have to go off campus.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, the last thing we're talking about, reason to celebrate this month, is this is Board Appreciation Month. So here we like to, I like to say a few words. There's a picture of our board right there. So we, Mr. Hagan, Mr. Swift, Mr. Ryan, Mrs. Humphreys, and Mrs. Krupko have all decided to run and dedicate time out of their lives to be part of our Board of Education. And it is a time and it is a commitment. All right? They also guide with clear vision. They're about student achievement. They're about relationships. And as far as I've been as superintendent for the last 6 months, they're community driven. And I wish to just thank them for their service and the time they've spent with me in the last 6 months, guiding me as much as I've hoping to, instill the same questions with them. But it is this, so each you have a gift from the 5 buildings. I had no idea what the kids were making this year, so they were very unique this year. I can tell they used some of Miss Horning's techniques and the STEAM side of things. I can see that. You do have a lovely flower arrangement from our great, amazing horticulture building. We wanted to have those. And I kind of task, for me, this is my first time I say it, so we kind of task maybe somebody that wants to do something also in addition. So Lexington actually put together just a very short clip. Ben, you gonna help me here?
So sweet.
It's awesome.
Like I said, a short thing. So that kind of just sums up a thank you from myself, our staff, our administrators, and so I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ben, hold on. Okay, moving on. All right, I put on there, I want to talk about some projects that were completed over break. So we have the one of the bigger projects was, Lexington has a septic system out there that was, as when I went out and visited, it was, it needed some work. It was a little bit overgrown, and would be put it nicely.
Overgrown.
So I'm going to show you some pictures here. If I can go back and forth. All right. So there was actually before. I really didn't have a before. I should have actually took a couple of pictures. There actually was a forest there. That's the cut down part. So they kind of spent a few weeks over break to kind of get in there and really clear it out. If you kind of, that far right picture kind of gets it where the septic system, now you can see where you can actually see the full septic system, and it's quite huge out there. Correct. So we have that kind of cleaned up, and the sand kind of placed out correctly, and we'll be continuing to do preventative maintenance on this from this point forward, I think. So it looks really nice. Let me go back here. All right. Also, so we had a 6-month, every 6 months, obviously, we've talked about this in the past, what we do when we have any, we have Bill Racine come out and basically make sure when we're talking about asbestos and in our buildings between Lexington, Marlboro High School, and our buildings, we have a 6-month preventative checkup. All right, so he comes out every 6 months. So part of his 6-month preventative checkup, he found some cracks. And so anything that's a change from every 6 months, or anything that we would notice that we reach out to, we obviously need to address. So those were addressed over break. So he came in and has done the ceiling plaster repair at Marlboro, at Lexington, and then obviously we had a piece in the high school, in the gymnasium. So those were addressed also over Christmas break. Since we didn't have kids in, we were able to take care of those during that time. Things that always seem to pop up as part of that, we did have to repair a split water line at Lexington in the tunnels. We had a water break in a line at Lexington. We did get that repaired right prior to kids returning, which was good. When I talk about insulated classroom outside walls, so for example, Washington Elementary, and a lot of that one wall out front, they're all outside classrooms. Well, when we switched over from boiler heat to the mini splits for our heating and cooling, they obviously took out parts from where the old air would push up. Well, we insulated all those. That way, that would stop a lot of that cold air coming in, keeping the classrooms warmer. So we had a chance to pull off that and get those insulated. I also talked about upcoming things. So those are kind of 3 major things. It was over break. We were only off there 11 days. So we just want to talk about, those are kind of things that we wanted to address that Al and I had kind of planned for. And then I asked him to we're trying to, over break, we're kind of looking at some things. This is what I'll be as we're moving forward, I'm going to have a very extensive list of preventative things or things we're going to do for our summer projects, okay, outside of the high school roof. We are looking at the overhang outside the gym door in the high school. That's between the mall and center. It needs a lot of work. So, and it's letting a lot of water in, things, so we're taking a good look at that. Obviously, Lexington pavement project's a big one on my list. I'm sure if you were out at Lexington today, it was a little wet. So, yeah. But we got some holes out there and some drainage issues, so we're gonna work through that.
In potholes.
So we're working to try to figure out the best way to move forward with that. So we are looking at that. We're also looking at options for Lexington for a drop ceiling in the hallways. So I just want you to know we're looking at different options there. And the flagpole at the middle school has been driving me crazy for 17 years. It's crooked. So we're looking at making it straight.
After 17 years.
All right. It's like you want to tilt your head and make it straight. So we're going to try to straighten out the flagpole a little bit. All right. So this is just kind of over that break, and then so I just want to kind of give you an idea over the 11 days that the students were home. There was still quite a few things going on within the district during that time. And we were able to kind of talk about some of those things, Al and I, and then some of those things we wanted to address on that. So again, the Lexington septic system was probably the big one that I really wanted to target. We talked about that when I was talking about different things functions in the district, you know, in the summer when I came on board.
Dan,
Yeah.
is this the Lexington septic system? Is this more of a beautification project, or did it actually change the functionality?
To me, it's not a
It's
beautification. It was not a. It's not a beautification project. I can tell you that. It was. This is to improve the functionality of the septic system itself. When I brought people out to take a look at it with Al and I, you know, we couldn't say with 100% certainty, you know, there's flotation valves in there to release and let it go. Which compartment we couldn't say for sure based on the overgrown.
Okay.
The trees and the weeds to get in there. So this gives us a chance to get that. First step one was to get that all cleaned up and ready. And you know, ultimately my goal is, like I always said, is to be, you know, think about our money, you know, and so we need to make sure that if we can extend the life as long as we can, we need to extend that life, because we're doing this roofing projects and we have if any other major project comes up, we gotta be careful of what we're doing.
Can you give us a price tag on what has been accomplished and a price tag on your summer projects, outside of the new roof, obviously?
Right now?
No.
Oh.
No, I knew you would.
Yes, I
right
can.
now.
I can absolutely do
Right
that.
now.
That's fine. No, that's fine.
Yeah, now.
No, that's fine. Yes, I can do that.
I'd just like to add as well that tree roots and drain plumbing are not a good combination.
No.
As many people know. And also, Dan, are we finally going to put a catch basin in at Lexington to keep the water from pooling?
It's all part of the plan to looking at. When I talked about Lexington's pavement project, that's what we're looking at, is everything, because we can't continue to have water pooling in such a massive area, and that park lake freezing, and then obviously,
Lake
you
Lexington.
know,
The potholes are
the
usually
potholes
the
are
freezing.
the potholes are
the kids
another
call it Lake
another
Lexington.
issue.
Lake
So
Lexington?
Yeah.
you and I talked about that this summer about looking at that.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the project portion? Okay. I always talk about the now, kind of like what's coming up. So the next Marlington Post will be coming out this month from me, and then obviously we'll be having our twice a year. We obviously have a larger Marlington Post that talks about, you know, the things that went on through the fall. So our student accomplishments, you know, concerts, things that are going on within the district itself. As I said, my post that when I put out is more directed towards, you know, some things that I want the community to know what's going on. All right, on that aspect. So that should be coming out. We had that survey that it will continue to run. I'm going to continue to push it. You know, I had no expectation. I think any responses I get are great. So I'm hoping to at least share the results of that survey next month in full. So I will at least have those going on. Community meetings, I'm going to continue moving forward with those. So I can tell you two that I've set are February 6th at 6 p.m. at Grace Community Church, February 8th at 6 p.m. at Salem United Methodist Church. I'm waiting on a response from a church in Marlboro Township, and I just didn't want to confirm. I have it, but I don't until the pastor calls me back and says, yes, you're good, and talks to the elders. I don't want to put it up there until I have that. As soon as I have that, I'll put that out there.
Hey, Dan, can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
On the survey, do you know about how many people we've had respond to that so far?
I do not.
Okay. Also, in the next post, is it going to link to that same survey?
Yes.
Okay.
Same one.
All right, thank
No,
you.
regardless of how many, you know, next month, I'll have that, like how many, if it's 100, 200, 500, you know, whatever that is, and then we'll continue it. So I'm hoping that people say, well, hey, I didn't get a chance to respond, and it just continues to build, because anything in it's giving me just some type of indication one way or another, you know, hey, you know, this is how you can communicate better with this. I mean, it's all it was strictly communication. Communicate this way better, do this different or that. So if they can't make a meeting, sometimes they can do it in there and they're more comfortable.
Okay. Thank you.
And I need to get, I did a staff meetings in the fall as a whole. I need to kind of get in with the staffs more in during a little bit more quiet time if they choose to come meet with me and have some type of conversations and things like that with the staff. So as promised, that's just my continued to be out there as much as I can, try to answer questions instead of trying to get, you know, people coming to me is not that easy. So any questions about my report this month? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I finally, you know what? I do have a second. I'm sorry. because I do. Can I, one more thing? That's my fault. I have it written right here, besides Happy New Year. I need to clear up, because I guess I can, because this is all me. So I appreciate Mrs. Sherman's coming up and talking about grade leveling. Either I misspoke, which is definitely a possibility because I talk a lot. Nowhere has this board talked about grade leveling. I do. You sat in my meetings in church. I'm the one that brought it up. So nowhere does the board say, Dan, can you talk about grade leveling? No. To me, it's part of my job is to have healthy conversations about different things that happen within the district. By no means am I grade leveling next year at all. Let me be very clear. Well, that's fine. You can use my words as I want, but I guess I go year by year how I do everything. How I've Oh, I firmly believe, yes, that I need to have those conversations about what grade leveling would look like, how it would affect the community, how it would affect staffing, how it would affect kids, how it would affect transportation. I mean, all those are just, to me, healthy questions, meaning that I have no intention to make action as healthy questions because I want to know. So, and I guess if I said that wrong by any stretch, that's not what that wasn't them directing me, that was strictly me. I've just kind of had like hot point topics of things that I feel is important for me as a superintendent to come up with plans, and then obviously they can look at me and say, get out, or whatever, no good. So, but no, I have zero plans of making any recommendation to this board of grade leveling buildings.
Good.
Okay. So I just wanted to, I guess I could address that because I knew, to me, I'm the one that started the conversation in the community meetings, and I know I talked about it here, I think in one of my board updates. So I figured I'd just clear that up a little bit. So thank you, though.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Next is old business.
Okay, old business. So we have our second reading of our board policy, the record. So we're going to go ahead and make the recommendation, the motion to approve the following resolution as Exhibit A. This is the graduation requirements, policy 5460. It's the only policy. We did first reading last month.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Passes.
Okay, the second piece is the 2023-2024 calendar. Recommend the motion to approve the following calendar for the 2023-2024 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Sorry to interrupt, but just to clarify, there's no changes to the calendar.
Zero changes.
Thank you.
Okay, next under new business, we only have one item tonight. That's the high school program of study. Recommend the motion to approve the following proposed changes to the high school program of study as shown in Exhibit C and D. So those are exhibits, that's the actual program of studies, draft until approved, and then obviously is the other one is all the changes that happened in the book by page number that was also shared at the curriculum meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And just to clarify, we went over that in our update, so we're not repeating that.
No.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, treasurer's agenda, Mr. Foss.
The first item on the treasurer's agenda is a recommendation to approve the minutes from the December 15th meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Motion passes. Second item on the treasurer's agenda is approval of the financial reports. These are for the periods ending November 30th and December 31st of 2022. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Sorry.
Okay. Discussion? Let me see, what are we looking at here? I'm gonna go through to highlight some things, anything that stands out to you, or does anyone have a question?
Yeah, to address any questions anyone has, I don't really have too many highlights for you at this point, other than I was thrilled to get December reconciled before the meeting here.
Good
So,
job.
A little
Good.
bit of progress taking place in the office.
Nice.
Good.
It's good. We've heard that. Really good words about Mr. Foss from the girls, ladies in the office. Okay. Well, all right. We don't have any questions. Anyone? Nope. All right. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Motion passes. The third item is revenue and appropriations, or changes as outlined in the exhibit.
Is there a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion?
I would just add that these are primarily due to the receipt of some additional grants that the district has received.
Okay.
And what grant is this 200,000 one for?
That's the literacy grant.
The literacy, okay. All right.
Excellent.
It's $216,025.50 in grants coming in.
Nice work.
Nice work, job. Nice work, everybody.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Motion passes. Fourth item is the alternative tax budget.
Is there a motion to approve the alternative tax budget as presented in following the Exhibit L?
So moved.
Second?
Jonathan, okay. Josh. Any discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Next item are the donations. Entertain a motion to approve those.
Is there a motion to approve the donations?
So moved?
Second. Oh, go ahead, Jonathan.
Kathy.
Take your pick.
Give it to Jonathan.
Jonathan, okay. You want to read those?
Yes, there's one donation this month from Gabrielle Cherry to the library at Lexington Elementary, $50.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Hagan?
Yes.
Mr. Swift?
Yes.
Ms. Humphries?
Yes.
Ms. Krupko?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, next section is personnel. If you guys are good, I'm going to do consent for the personnel. It's a very short list tonight. We have one certified resignation, and that's our head football coach, Phil Morrow, from his title position and his football duties. We have a classified resignation for cafeteria monitor, followed with a classified hire of that cafeteria monitor as, we have a certified hire, and that would be for our French position. And that would be an ESSER teacher. A classified hire, that would be our cafeteria monitor, switched over to our custodial side. We have a supplemental staff hire here for a math coach, and we have a few substitutes on the classified side added to the agenda.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to Coach Morrow for a good job that he took on a big project this fall coming here in Marlington and really ingrained himself in the community, got the kids out to do things like car washes and different service projects. And along the way, they learned a little bit of football too. So I just want to say thank you very much to Coach Morrow and wish him the best in his future endeavor.
Absolutely. Okay, call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, just a few upcoming events outside of the athletics. As I say, keep up with the athletic webpage, but we do have Monday, January 16th, Martin Luther King Day, so there will be no school for students. Next Friday, January 20th, is the end of the second 9 weeks. We're halfway through the year. Year's flying. January 27th is our National Honor Society Rigatoni Dinner. January 30th, Staff PD Day, so there's no school for kids, but staff will be in here doing PD. February 2nd is obviously our spring parent-teacher conferences. February 3rd, we have the high school winter sports dance. February 20th, we don't have school either. So just give you a little idea there what's coming up here before our next board meeting.
Is there a motion for the next Board of Education meeting to be held February 16th, right here in the DLZ at 6 p.m.?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Just a point of order. Did we approve that in the organization
I was
meeting?
just
Do we
gonna
have to,
ask,
do we have to have a motion for that now?
Approve what?
For the meeting?
meeting,
We
'cause
don't
we've
need, we
already
don't need a
said it.
motion,
Oh.
you're just letting them know.
You
Okay.
just, it's just an announcement, right?
Oh, you're right, it is an announcement. Okay,
We got to make it official.
never mind. Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Swift,
Yes.
Ms. Krupko,
Yes.
Mr. Hagan,
Yes.
Ms. Humphries,
Yes,
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.